Hey there. Well, it is January. I didn't want to get too far into the new year without having a chance to talk about some of the amazing books that came out at the end of 2024. So some of these came out October, November. I don't know if I have any that came out in December because I was so overwhelmed reading all these books for the Sybil's Award that I was helping judge in speculative fiction. So I know there are a lot in October and November though. So let me just share about these amazing books. The first one is Slouch by Christina Wyman. And I love this book. Oh my goodness. I just want society to read it and realize that it is not okay for us to be using words to make comments about people's bodies. All right, it is time to stop. It is time to stop using our eyes to make comments about people's bodies. So it's about this girl, about 11, 12-year-old girl named Stevie, that she is quite tall for her age, taller than the boys, taller than the girls. And it's never really bothered her, but now it's starting to bother her now that she's noticing what people are saying. And people are like, well, you can't have a crush on him because, you're taller than him. And so then Stevie is wrestling with this. And also Stevie joins the debate team at school. And so there are some new experiences with her for that. And just an amazing, incredible book that y'all need to read. Next, we have The Wish Monster. I read Night Books and oh my gosh, it was so incredible that as soon as I saw by the same author, this Wish Monster, it was just like, I need to read this. So this boy and two of his friends encounter experiences through this relationship with this monster, which this monster grants wishes. And we learned that wishes can have a powerful effect on everybody there, because if you wish for a certain thing, it's really going to affect somebody else in a big, big way and your relationship with that somebody else. It is a fun, kind of spooky, just great read, and I loved it. All right, if you have not dived into the world of Chris Grabenstein's Mr. Lemoncello, now is a great time because he's finally finished this amazing world. He wrote Escape from Mr. Lemoncello's library first, and then the series continues with other books about just this quirky, silly, amazingly wealthy guy who makes games a lot based on literature, and kids have these opportunities to win really great prizes through his big games later. And then we have a prequel that tells us more about Mr. Lemoncello, but finally we're on the Fantabulous finale, and Mr. Lemoncello kind of uses elaborate language that aren't always words, but it's just fun and silly, and it all comes together. And now, if you haven't read it, you can go just experience it one book after the other. So, Tale of the Flying Forest. Oh my gosh. I love religion. I love learning about different religions. And it may surprise you, but as I've discovered different kids and teens, a lot of them are kind of interested in this as well. So the book is not centered on religion. It's this fantastical book of a girl going into another fantasy world where, this world flies, and she encounters different magical creatures and these different witches and the way that their choices have affected this society. So this girl is brought up Jewish, and her faith and her prayers are important to her. And so there's music to them. And these words are incorporated throughout the story. And her being Jewish is a big part of the story. And I loved reading this. And I love the way that it's just woven so beautifully into this fantasy story. It's just a fun fantasy ride. My jam is fantasy. It is my favorite genre, and it just does not disappoint, where there's adventure and just amazing creatures and danger, but then just this great element of just religion that is important to her. It is so artfully woven together. Loved it. All right, Unsinkable Cayenne is one of the few novels in verse I read this last year, and let me tell you, there is a reason that these novels in verse are just taking children's literary world by storm. How amazing that authors like Jessica Vitalis can just pack so much power in these words in so few words, because where it's verse, you just don't have a lot of space to go on and on. but there's power in the story and in these words. And this girl is moving around across the country, living with her family, kind of this hippie family. Okay, totally this hippie family that lives in the back of a van. And it's time to try to settle down and live in one place. And this is hard on the family for different reasons. And she feels a little unusual in the school and in the community. And so she's trying to make friends, and at the expense of maybe some choices that she knows are wrong. And so she makes friends and has good experiences and bad ones, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful story. All right, Inkworld, The Color of Revenge. As soon as I saw this was coming out, I was so excited. I had to get an advanced reader copy, and I loved it as much as I expected it to. Years ago, I read Inkheart and Inkspell and Ink Death, and I love this fantasy world. And so we're back, and the characters are up against this villain that they've encountered before, but there are new villains and new powers and new magic, and it just lives up in every way that I wanted it to. I'm excited. I want to go read it again, just be talking about it. Then we have Find Her. This was an amazing story about this Indigenous girl who her mother went missing, and she doesn't know where she is, but she is taking it upon herself to, for one, try to find her mother, and for two, try to share with the world about how these women that go missing, that this is being overlooked. And this is a big problem. Some deep, heavy issues here. Again, the beauty of middle grade, talked about in a way that is just appropriate and right for the age. And it's just a fantastic, wonderful story that I loved getting into. The Bletchley Riddle, you know, the best historical fiction out there is so often World War II, and this is one of them. So we've got a brother and a sister, and we're going back and forth between the two of them as they are in this world of espionage and how being involved with these different things, the back part of spying and breaking codes and things like that and being involved in it, and how it affects them and their family, and there's something secret going on in their family and in their past, and it's just a wonderful just mystery story. It's excellent. If these sound good to you, tell me in the comments below which one you most look forward to reading. And I'm going to do a part 2 because I've got 7 more to tell you about. So watch for that video. And of course, subscribe to the channel, give it a like, because that helps me grow the channel and come back and give you more great book recommendations for the kids in your life.